Hey, Bears fans, help me out before we get into today's videos. I want you to subscribe to Chicago Bears Now. We're just 150 subs away from reaching 5,000, 4,850 right before I started recording this video. So I'm trying to get to 5K on this video alone. We're very, very close. Help me get there and go ahead and subscribe. The link's down below, youtube.com/Bears Now. Send that to a friend. Tell them, hey, helping this guy out, trying to get him to 5,000 subs. He does a ton of Bears videos. So go ahead, help me out, hit that big red subscribe button. Now, let's get into today's Bears Mailbag. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. Thanks to everybody for submitting their questions using hashtag Bears, getting to as many of them as I can today. Appreciate especially the ones who followed me on Twitter and submitted their questions over there. Don't worry, we'll get to the Twitter questions throughout the video as well. Let's start with David Garcia asking on YouTube, who do you think that gives the Bears a better shot at winning, Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky? Obviously, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy spoke about the quarterback competition. We'll get into those quotes in just a moment. But when you compare these two side by side, we've shown this graphic a lot. Both leave a lot to be desired. Obviously, Nick Foles is a proven Super Bowl champion. He's played really well in the biggest games in his career. When he hasn't played well is when he's expected to be the starter over 16 games. He really hasn't done that at a high level since 2013. That's 7 seasons ago. So we'll see in a more comfortable system for him if he can perform in 2020, if he does win the starting job. Now, speaking of that, Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace both talked about the quarterback competition just a couple of days ago. Here was the quote from the Bears GM. With the addition of Nick Foles, it's exactly what we talked about from the start. We want to create competition. We've talked to both players, and it's an open competition. Now, keep in mind, before we get to Nagy here, Ryan Pace, after the season, said Trubisky was the quarterback. Then at the Combine, he said, we want competition. Now they've added Nick Foles. Kind of think Nick Foles is the guy. Here's what Matt Nagy had to say. He says Trubisky will get the first snaps when we walk out on the first day, whenever it is, whether it's OTAs or whether it's training camp. Mitch will be going first in the huddle. I can promise you this. It's going to be extremely fair. It's going to be competitive in a good way. It's going to be a healthy competitiveness. So we will see. I just think I'm reading the tea leaves. I think Nick Foles is going to be the starting quarterback. They've gone from Mitch is the guy to we could look for competition to now we have competition. Guys, read between the lines here. Nick Foles is going to be the guy. But what do you guys think? Type 10 for Trubisky, type 9 for Nick Foles, obviously referring to their numbers there. I think Nick Foles will be the starting quarterback. I'm typing my 9. I'm reading between the lines here. I think he will be the Bears quarterback in 2020. Let's get to Paul Gross here as we continue our Bears mailbag. He asked me on Twitter, appreciate this. You got me thinking. Would you try to shop Trubisky on draft day for a pick? What round would be realistic? 3rd, 4th? Miami has the most cap room in picks. New England has picks in past trades with the Bears. They could draft a guard in Hurts or a cornerback wide receiver in the 2nd round. I'm not going to focus on that back part of that as much. I'm going to focus on a possible Trubisky trade. We talked about this a few videos ago. His time might be running out. And assuming Nick Foles is going to win this quarterback competition, which I put in air quotes because sure, they can label it as a competition. Maybe they'll split reps early on. I fully expect Nick Foles to be the guy. It does make you wonder, though, should the Bears just trade him before a competition and get something for him? Could they get a 3rd? Could they get a 4th? Maybe. I'm not sure. I've got a trade proposal here in a second. Obviously, when you look at Trubisky's career up to this point, he's been inconsistent. 2018, we saw him play pretty well for the most part. But since that time, he regressed last season. At 2017, he was pretty spotty his first year of his career, 48 touchdowns to 29 picks in his young career. It's okay. He's been pretty average. I just haven't seen a ton of improvement over the last 12 to 15 months. And typically between year 2 and 3 is about the time when young quarterbacks make a big jump. He didn't. He actually went the opposite direction. So what do you guys think? What should the Bears do with Mitchell Trubisky? Type K for keep, type T for trade. What should they do with their young quarterback? Let me know down in the comment section. If you think it's keep, type K. If you think it's trade, type T. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's video, so go ahead and scroll down and answer this question. Now, when you look at the possible trade, let's look at the Patriots. Top 100 picks. They got a first-round pick. No second, but they do have 3/3. This reeks of a Patriots trade, right? Where let's take a chance on a guy who's underperformed, but he has some talent, former first-round pick. Let's bring him into our culture and see if he can hit the reset button. Patriots need a quarterback. They've got Jarrett Stidham right now, Brian Hoyer. Maybe Mitch Trubisky can go in there and compete with Stidham for the starting job. So I threw this trade proposal together. This is, we'll see. I don't know if the Patriots would take this, but Patriots send their second comp pick in the third round, 100th overall pick. They get Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears' 6th round pick, number 196. So basically, you're getting a 4th for Trubisky, because when you send a 6th, get a 3rd, that averages out to about a 4th. I think that's about the trade value right there. I think if the Bears got off for this, they'd win this trade. And I think they should take this trade in a heartbeat and move on. Trubisky's been inconsistent. There is some upside there, but if you can get a 3rd-round pick for him, I think you take it and run with it, especially considering the Bears don't have a 3rd or a 4th-round pick at this point in this year's NFL draft. What you guys should definitely do, and what we can all agree on, is that these shoes, they're sick. Look at these puppies. Nike Chicago Bears running shoes for less than $100 right now. They're like $97 and some change at 25% off. Chatsports.com/Bears shoes is the link. I'll put that in the comments. I'll put it in the description. I love the Bears text on the inside of the shoes. It's pretty sweet. I like these kicks. I may have to order a pair of my own. Chatsports.com/Bears shoes. Go ahead and order today. The link will be in the comments. It'll be in the description. Less than $100 for these Nikes. This deal, I promise, it's not going to last forever. So go ahead and take advantage today. Next Twitter question here, coming in from Cole Cash using #Bears. How did you not have Kyle Digger as the top safety for the Chicago Bears? Well, first of all, Cole, it's Kyle Duggar. I'm assuming honest mistake there. No worries there. I did my round 2 draft targets recently, had a couple of safeties in there. Antoine Winfield out of Minnesota. He was my top safety in round 2 that I would look at if I was the Bears' number 3 overall target. I just like him. He's a bit undersized, but he's a hard hitter. He's a playmaker. Has had some injuries, but if he's there at 43, I think he's a worthwhile selection since the Bears need to replace Ha Ha Clinton-Dix. Obviously, Jeremy Chinn, I had him on my list as well. He was my number 10 guy here, but my second safety. Explosive athlete, was very, very impressive at the NFL Combine. Does come from a small school at Southern Illinois at the FCS level, so that is obviously a concern, but I think he does have a big-time upside, and he's a player I'd be comfortable taking in the second round. Kyle Duggar's in there as well. He would have been probably my next safety here in terms of round 2 draft targets. Probably top 15 player I would target in round 2. He's got upside. He was a big-time playmaker at Lenoir-Rhyne. I'm not saying he's not an option. I just had Antoine Winfield and Jeremy Chinn a little higher on my personal board. Obviously, some of you guys may feel a little bit differently. I did release my top 10 second-round targets for the Bears. I encourage you to check it out, youtube.com/Bears Now. We're releasing videos all the time. That's why I'm encouraging you to subscribe and help me get to 5,000 subs. We're 150 away. Help me get there. Go ahead and check out this video that went up just a couple of days ago. Get to our next Twitter question here from 40 Cal. Thoughts on these rawer talents that we could draft in the later rounds? Damian Lewis, Netane Moody, Quez Watkins, Amik Robertson. He also used #Bears, so I greatly appreciate that. Let's kind of show these guys closer up. Lewis, the offensive lineman from LSU. Netane Moody, the Fresno State offensive line. These are kind of day 3 draft targets, I would think. Quez Watkins, kind of an underrated receiver out of Southern Miss. And then Amik Robertson, who I like a lot, out of Louisiana Tech. I think these are some players you could look at on day 3. The Bears do have more draft capital on day 3 than they do on days 1 and day 2. But I think these are, a few players that he mentioned that could be an option for the Chicago Bears. So keep that in mind as well. I want you guys to let me know. Do you guys want me to do a Bears draft sleepers video, like day 3 targets? I could certainly do that. The draft is a couple of weeks away. If we get enough yeses in the comment section, maybe I'll make a draft sleepers video, focus on day 3 draft targets. That could be some fun. I think the underrated prospects are always intriguing. Get enough yeses in the comment section, I will do one of those videos very, very soon. Next question here from Timothy Wade. What about Jacob Eason? If he's available, do the Bears draft a quarterback? I think drafting a quarterback is still very much on the table. Obviously, the top 4 guys, Burrow, Tua, maybe Jordan Love falls. Justin Herbert's not going to fall. Love would be, a pipe dream if he fell to 43. These guys are what you're looking at on day 2. Jacob Eason, Jalen Hurts. And Jake Fromm, you guys know me. I'm out on Fromm. I don't want the Bears to draft him. I would rather address another need. I'd be okay with Eason or Hurts in the second round. I wouldn't take Hurts before 50, though. Eason, probably the same with Eason, not before 50. I'd be okay with it, but I do think the Bears have bigger needs. Between those two, because I'm out on Fromm, like I said, I want you guys to decide. Who would you rather draft? Type E for Jacob Eason, type H for Jalen Hurts. Obviously, Hurts more mobile. He can do some different things. Eason, big, strong arm, more of a prototypical prospect out of Washington. Type E for Eason, type H for Hurts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. That brings up our next question from Devin Lockhart. Heard that Jamal Adams is on the trade wire. What would it take to bring him to the monsters of the Midway? Bear down. Always appreciate you guys putting bear downs in your comments and videos, whatever the case may be. We encourage that here on Chicago Bears Now. As far as the Jamal Adams trade goes, look, it's unclear how happy he is in New York. I don't think he's very happy. He's been linked to trades. I know the Cowboys were interested last year at the trade deadlines. Continues to get brought up in trade rumors. Who knows what the hell the Jets are doing at this point? Adam Gase is a mess. Teams are going to continue to have interest. I'm sure the Jets will take calls. They're not going to trade him for nothing. So it would cost a lot. Would probably cost the Bears 2021 first-round pick and probably one of their seconds this year. Maybe more. I think that's probably a starting point. Next year's first and one of your seconds this year. I'm not sure if I would do that if I was the Bears. I know Adams is a beast, but they don't have a lot of draft capital. That would be a lot to give up and not to have a first-round pick in consecutive seasons. He's incredible, though. I mean, great tackler, tackles for loss, the sacks are there, the pass breakups. Had a couple of touchdowns last year as well. Producer Dylan was putting this graphic together. He's like, dude, I can't put enough on screen because he has too many notable statistics. So we did the best we could there. He is just a flat-out playmaker and would be terrific next to Eddie Jackson. What do you guys think? How much would you give up for this guy? Would you give up your first next year and one of your seconds this year? I think it's going to cost you at least that, if not more. You may have to throw a day 3 draft pick in as well, maybe your 5th-round pick this year. It's tough, man. I don't know if I could give up that much for a safety, even knowing how good Jamal Adams is. But go ahead, send me in your trade packages for Adams down in the comments section. Let's go to Jamie Hinton next up here using hashtag Bears. This may be more realistic. Do the Bears go after a guy like Eric Reid? Obviously, the Panthers have waived him to save some money. Matt Rule and that coaching staff are kind of hitting the reset button over in Carolina. Look, he's a solid, strong safety. I think he's maybe even a tick better than Ha Ha Clinton-Dix. I think he could be a slight upgrade for a similar price. Clinton-Dix signed for $4 million with Dallas in the offseason. He's been steady. He's been to the Pro Bowl before, played all 16 games last year for Carolina, so he's been able to stay healthy. I wouldn't mind it. 1 year, $5 million, 1 year, $4 million. Bring him on board. You plug him in as your starting strong safety. This is a guy who's had 11 picks in his career. He had 130 tackles this past season, so he flies around. He's a good, solid, strong safety. Still a young player, still has a lot left in the tank. Carolina didn't cut him for a lack of playmaking ability. They're just going in a different direction at that spot. I think you can plug him in. He's instantly your starting strong safety. He replaces Clinton-Dix. He gives you an extra playmaker in that secondary. I think bringing Eric Reid on board is very much an option for the Chicago Bears.